I don't want to be sued for saying this, so I might as well just put these on so you don't recognize me. I haven't watched the news for about 5 years, which means that I know nothing about the world, and I am a selfish, delusional person who cares nothing about the suffering of others. Because watching the news is the only way to stay safe and show that you care, right? If you are anything like me, if you have dreams, if you have just started on your journey, if you are just tapping into your potential, leaving the 9 to 5, leaving the matrix, this video is for you. Because you might just realize that there is something that is holding you back that you didn't even consider. So let's have a chat and get some tea doing. Okay. Let's get some tea and have a chat. Okay.
May the truth be told, I was down bad, now I got it on go. Finna count my dough till my thumb got slit. Put my neck on glitz, put my name on the list. Finna shine on the fucking jump. From the day, been player one, way too clean. I was born this way, this my DNA. I was EBT, now the bread on the way, just the ETA. I done took my payment, it sound too clean. I'm a trader, never thought I can't. Got $1 on me, what is life but a dream? I been turn me up, I ain't even hit 10, bro. This shit like, wait, let them feel my bass. Finna test your jaw like my last name.
Cheers. I have just had a cold this week, so I am still recovering from that. So I stopped watching the news during COVID because that was the first time in my life that I felt severe anxiety watching the news. I did not feel just informed. I just felt so fucking filled up with fear. And it really made me realize how much control mainstream media had over my subconscious mind, but also my decisions and my emotional state. And it really got me thinking, because I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to show up online, but there was so much fear holding me back because I thought the world was such a horrible, scary place, and I was so scared of criticism, so scared of haters, and it felt really dangerous to do what I wanted to do and to pivot and whatever. And I realized, like, shit, I have to do some adjustments, and one of them was removing news from my life. And the thing is that they say that you are a combination of the 5 people closest to you, but I believe it's also true for everything you consume. So I got really fucking, clear about what was going in. And I mean music, I mean lyrics, I mean podcasts, YouTube, like any content, but also mainstream media. And it completely changed my life. It's a part of the story, but it's a very important part. How do you like my microphone setup? I didn't want to clip it onto my shirt. So what's really interesting is that when you are in the beginning of your journey, when you are in the beginning of whatever new endeavor, starting a business, starting a YouTube channel, changing career, you are actually in a vulnerable position. And what I mean by that is that you haven't yet created the systems or the self-confidence or maybe the self-reassurance that proof you haven't created the you don't have the stability and the proof to you that it will absolutely work out, which means that you are open and susceptible to criticism, to people's opinions, to what people say online. Everything you consume, you are susceptible to. And the danger of consuming the wrong type of content during this period is that it might scare you back to where you were, and we do not want that. And this is especially true for like these family members or friends who have very good intentions when they advise you on something, but the result is often that you feel like, oh shit, maybe I'm doing such a really bad choice that I should go back to where I was. So to prevent you from that happening, to be scared back, we have to do some precautions or take some precautions. And one of them is to be very mindful of what is going in. This is everything from music, podcast, content, mainstream media, everything that you consume. Make sure that it is in alignment with where you want to go, or at least let the person who is conveying the message be either where you want to be, or have a mindset of that is encouraging to you. That's all you have to monitor during this process. The reason is that we want you to feed yourself with things that make you believe in yourself, to make you feel safe, to make the world feel like a safe place, because we want you to be in the rest and repair in the nervous system term world, because that's from where you can create. You cannot create from the fight or flight nervous system mode. If all you are consuming is telling you how terrifying the world is, how dangerous everything is, how hard it is to succeed, that will contaminate your worldview, and it will therefore contaminate your actions, because your beliefs then lead to action. And if you feel like, oh, it's too hard, I might not even try, you will not even try, and then you might not even walk the walk you are here to do. The crazy thing is that most people, when they wake up, I think this is a habit, not to blame people, but I think most people, they wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is to check their phone and they look at the news. And this is, in my opinion, the worst thing that you can do, because when you wake up, your mind and your brain is in a certain brainwave state that is slower. It is perfect for meditation because it is more susceptible to information and being altered or changed. So you can access your subconscious mind a lot easier when you just wake up and make changes. But if you feed your mind negativity and horror and the worst part of humanity, the first thing you do in that susceptible state, it will alter your rest of your day. And it is crazy to me. So the worst times to ever consume media, basically, but mostly the news, is first thing in the morning and last thing in the night, in the evening. You can compare it to when you wake up on, like if you slept in and you have to go to work and you wake up with a rush of adrenaline and stress. It's so easy that it spills out throughout the day, and to turn it around. For example, you might spill coffee on your shirt, or you might miss the bus, and then you have a really bad meeting. So it just stacks on each other. And I feel like that's the same if you start the day by putting your mind into fight or flight, by showing how dangerous the world is. That will actually impact your decisions and what you believe is possible and what you should focus on. Because when you are in fight or flight, it's not a time to create. It's a time to stay safe, to do the safe thing, to stay at your job, to not pursue your dream. It's to do the safe thing. And I feel like the news is not the inherent truth. News are portraying the worst thing that happened. They are portraying crime, accidents, natural disasters, bad economy. So they are portraying the worst aspect of this planet. That doesn't mean that that is the only truth. There are numerous positive and beautiful things happening in the world at the same time, but it does not generate as much clicks. So it doesn't mean that, we are living in this fantasy bubble when we take away all the negativity. It's just focusing on another aspect of life so that we can help the people who are suffering. So that we feel light enough in our hearts to do that. And going back to news, so it's not like So news stations are owned by companies, and companies have interests and perspectives and angles that they want to portray. So we have to be really careful what we consume, and also know who is owning that station and where is this information coming from. What are their interests in this? So there's always two sides of a story. Like, this is actually a good example. For example, if you look at a conflict in the world and you listen to the news in one country and then you listen to the news in the other country, they will say the fucking opposite. They will, like, I don't know. I think you get my point. I forgot to say that the news companies that are companies, they are also using the aspect of the mind, the human mind, which is always drawn to danger and negativity, because we are wired to pay attention to things that are dangerous because it is a survival mechanism, and therefore the news headlines that has the most danger or negativity or whatever will get the most clicks, and they are competing against each other for clicks because it's a lot of money involved in this too. So the more danger the headline has, the more clicks. And this is also actually true for content. So I just want to say, like, this proves that it's not that it's the inherent truth. It's also a way for them to capture and capitalize on your fear. And we have to take a step back and take control over the narrative and the truth. It's so interesting because my grandmother, when she was really in the later years of her life, she was glued to her chair in her living room watching the news. She had the news on 24/7, I feel like. And so she never went out. And that was her only filter in life, which meant that she thought that the world was the most dangerous place. I don't know how to say it, but I remember one time when I was visiting her, and she was like, did you take the bus here? And for her, she was living in a state of, like, it's a terror environment outside of her apartment. But for me, who are out in the world, see that there are so many beautiful things. It's not that dangerous. Yes, it happens things, but it's not as dangerous as she thought, because that was the only worldview that she consumed. So we have to be careful to not put ourselves subconsciously in her situation and feel like, because she didn't get the full picture. And that's what I feel like when we consume only negativity, we do not get the full picture, which means that we do not take the correct decisions or actions. I also believe that we weren't made to consume this amount of information, and especially this amount of negative information as human beings. We were not supposed to know the worst thing that are happening everywhere every time. We can't really handle it. So even if I don't watch the news, I know what's going on in the world. I know what's going on in Gaza. I know what's happening in the United States. I even know that one of our ministers fainted the other day here in Sweden. I mean, it feels like you can't escape. Like, news will come to you, but how it does is very important. Something that I want to touch upon is that, does it really mean that I don't care about the suffering of the world because I don't watch the news? For me, it's the contrary. I care too fucking much. Watching the news for me makes me feel terrified and helpless, and it actually prevents me from helping others because I want to hide. And because I feel like it's such a dangerous place, I have to hide. I can't show up online. I can't help others. So for me, I'm becoming less good of a citizen if I consume other people's pain in that amount. And I believe that war and crime and every harmful act upon other human beings are made by people who are wounded, who are not in contact with their essence, who are deeply miserable. And a way for me to help some people, not everyone, is to provide the knowledge that I have, which is I can help people overcome limiting beliefs. I can be the friend who you can come to here in this online space who will believe in you and your dreams. I want you to watch my videos and feel encouraged and be like, oh my God, I can actually change my life. I can do the things I'm dreaming of doing. I can be that resource. I can help you find ways to go after your dreams, because I feel like when you find ways to accept yourself, to overcome your past, and really be authentic in like, okay, this is my truth. This is how I want to live this way. So basically, when you live in alignment with you and your essence, you will be a better asset to the world. Because when you feel good, you actually have ripple effects on the people around you. And that can only spread in a positive way. So that's my way of helping. And I've had some people say to me, like, it's an obligation to watch the news and to see what's going on in the world and for the people who suffer. But I feel like, are you actually doing anything good by, like, are you actually actively doing something to make the world a better place, or are you just consuming other people's pain? And what happens as a result of that? Does it make you more afraid of the world, which makes you retreat back and be like in this fight or flight mode? So I'm like not really buying the, like, that you have to know everyone's suffering. I believe that you should like make it a very, make it a priority to put yourself in a good energy so that you can be of service to others. So for me, like, filtering out the noise, filtering out the trauma of the world actually makes it easier for me to focus on the mission and to be able to provide service through these YouTube videos. Okay, so what can we do instead? I've touched upon this a little bit, and we have 5 points. And the first point is to consume media, everything, music, podcasts, YouTube content, mainstream media. Only consume content that is uplifting, that is positive, that is encouraging, and that's from people who are living in the reality that you want to live. I think it's the same with, movies, anything fiction too. And like, don't consume, don't watch men who cheat or are doing harmful things to women, because I believe that will impact the way you see men. Because obviously you want to be surrounded by good, healthy men, and by constantly hearing about men who are harmful, we might start losing hope. So I believe that we should just consume content from healthy, masculine men who are safe, who are protectors. And it's the same for, like, what we shouldn't watch people hating on the rich, because everyone wants more money, right? We want to be rich. But if you listen and consume media from people who hate on the rich, you will subconsciously associate being rich with being a bad person, and you do not want to be a bad person. Therefore, you will reject or push money away subconsciously. So this is true for everything. It's the same for, like, if you listen to people who judge others or are making fun of others for trying or starting new things because they haven't found the confidence and they can't find the words and they blah blah blah, and they say, like, oh, they're so cringe, whatever. When they say that, it will subconsciously make you fear being on the other side of that judgment. So you feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't try. So we have to be so fucking careful about what's going into our minds. And it's the same for like, we have to be so careful with who we share our dreams and our plans with. This is mostly true in real life with family and friends, because as I said, we are in the vulnerable state, which means that when you share like, oh, I want to do this, it sounds so fun, what do you think? And if you get a response like, oh, but have you thought about that? That sounds really hard, or that sounds too risky. What if this happens? What if that happens? Have you thought about that? All these questions or reactions might make you scared and be like, oh shit, yeah, no, it's too much. I'll go back. So especially in the beginning, share your dreams with people who are on the same journey or ahead of you on the same journey. Or someone you know is really safe and is always rooting for you, whatever. Little break. If you do want to watch the news, if you want to be updated, I would not watch it in the morning or in the evening. I would probably watch it at noon, after lunch, or just before a workout. You could also ask a partner to be like, okay, could you tell me the most important news that happened? Like in a neutral way. Just like, oh, this happened. Just so you are informed. That's what we want. We want to take away the negativity and the danger of it. You can also ask ChatGPT. I did that once. I think that was actually really good. So you can ask ChatGPT to be like, hey, could you summarize the most important world news that happened last week or last month, without scaring me. Just make it a very neutral, so I know what's going on. Or you could actually, I am subscribed to this, it's a newsletter called Morning Brew. I don't read it, to be honest, but I have read it sometimes. And when I have read it, it's, they provide world news in a very short newsletter that has more of a light tone of voice, and they're just sharing what's happening. I think they are a little bit more tailored towards the United States, but they might be American, whatever. But something like that could actually be a good alternative. But obviously, take precaution. So if you are traveling somewhere, or if there is an immediate threat in the environment, obviously stay updated. I would do that, but don't make it into a habit to consume negativity and danger in your everyday life. That's what I would say. And I feel like I have to make the disclaimer that I know that there are amazing really brave journalists out there who are reporting from corners of the world to make sure that mistreatment aren't silenced, and I feel like that's really important as well. But personally, for me, I don't think that generally consuming news are a healthy habit. That's actually really fucking well put. That's so interesting. That's not a healthy habit. It is not. It is not. Ever since I stopped watching the news, I have done a lot of inner work as well, but a part of this makes me feel so much more uplifted and positive and expansive, and I feel like everything is possible. And I believe that that's a lot better place to be in. I am very aware that there are bad things happening, and I am doing what I can to help the people who resonate with me. And that's all I can do and ever will be able to do. So what I want to leave you with is to be very observant of what you are consuming, what they are saying, and are those beliefs in alignment with where you want to go? Is that something that you want to subscribe to? And first just observe, and then start to say, what are you available for? And how much are you actually invested in going forward? Because people, when I am with people who are within the norm, I for too long, I start to second guess myself. I'm starting to be like, oh, maybe I'm just making this all up. Maybe what am I doing? Maybe I should go back, you know? But as soon as I am put in a room of entrepreneurs or someone who's expansive or open-minded, I'm like, oh my God, you can do all that? Is that available? I want to do that. That sounds so cool. So be so fucking mindful of what you consume, who you surround yourself with. And I'm really happy that you found my channel, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.